This is the drive home with TT for the Millwall drive home. Driving home from the Den, where it finished Millwall 2, Cardiff City 2. Thank you very much, Zach. In a game where I think overall a point probably was the fair result. I think Cardiff created better chances than we did throughout the 90 minutes. A decent, well, a very good goalkeeping performance from Bradshaw. And some excellent forward play from Tom Bradshaw really deservedly give us the point. First of all, I want to say two things. First of all, sorry for the no drive home from Brentford, but I was so fuming after that game that I ended up in a pub. I didn't drive. I got the train and I ended up in a pub. And about after 4 or 5 beers, I don't think it would have been the most productive of drive homes when the wife came to pick me up. So I decided not to do one. And second of all, obviously we welcome Gary Rowett. I'll speak a little bit about it at the end of this video. This is more to report on this game rather than the next. But I overall think that that's a good appointment. And we need a lot of work to do. There's no getting away from that. We started going back to a 4-4-2. And initially, I've got to be honest, I was disappointed with the lineup in so much that, you know, I do not necessarily the starting 11. Although I do think that, you know, when we're putting Murray Wallace at left back, we're struggling for pace and we're getting caught out. I don't think so much it happens, funny enough, down Murray's side today. Although I do think that he does look lethargic. But I'll go through the teams anyway. So we started off with Bartosz Białkowski in goal, and he's proven what a quality Championship goalkeeper he is. I know he had a bit of stick and he didn't have the greatest of seasons with Ipswich at the end of last, but this year there's no doubt in the fact that he's a quality goalkeeper and he's made some really excellent saves. He cannot be blamed for the 2 goals. There's absolutely nothing you could do about them. Both of them are, you know, well taken finishes. He's made, you know, he's gone a couple of them that, and I mean it, there's no getting around it. If we had Archer in goal for a couple of those shots that he's having to go down low quickly, they're going to score, and we saw it so often. But he's keeping us in games, which is important. He's turned basically no points into a point today, and he was my man of the match, Bartosz Białkowski. I think without a doubt he deserves to get a 9. You know, we were really good at the front and really good at the back, and between that, you know, there were bits of performances, but overall, you know, obviously Bartosz passing out from the back isn't his strong point. You know, at the moment, I don't want the pressure to be on him. You know, just let him get rid of it. You know, we tell our defenders to clear the ball and not pass with it. So don't put any pressure on Bart. Let him be there. What a goalkeeper's in goal for. Save the ball, and that's what he does really well. And I don't want at the moment any more from a goalkeeper, and that's what Bartosz brings to the team. We had Marlin Romero at right back. Now again, Marlon really splits our fan base in terms of his defending and what he brings to the team. But for me, I do really rate him. I know occasionally he's out of position, but his pace normally brings him back into it anyway. The only thing that slightly annoyed me today was that I feel like I don't know whether it's bad management or bad from Marlon himself, but you've got don't get me wrong, you've got a talented player in Junior Hoylett playing against him, but the guy has absolutely no left foot whatsoever. None. You know, every time he's playing on the left and he wants to cut in on his right. Both goals we've conceded are because we've allowed him to do that. We've allowed him to come into the pitch. One, he chips a perfectly great ball to the back post because he has loads of time. That wasn't Marlon's fault. That was Jed's because he doesn't put pressure on him. And the second, you know, from a nothing bit of play, they've ended up getting. He's free on the edge of the box, shimmies in, bends it into the bottom right hand corner. Now they're excellent finishes. They're excellent. It was an excellent cross, but you can't allow him to do that. And I don't care how quality you are, we've got to stop that from happening. It happened at Brentford, the other side. This wasn't Marlon. This was Murray Wallace last week. We've allowed Brentford to cut in. Someone stopped them from getting a shot. Allow them to. If you want to allow them to cross it, we eat and drink those crosses all day long. You can't allow them to cut in and cross it with the stronger foot, or take a shot into the bottom left-hand corner. We've conceded 4 goals in a very similar fashion, and the new manager coming in is something he's really gonna have to focus on. Show them wide, show them on their weaker foot, and I felt that other than when Marlon done that, he wrapped Junior up, and that's where it's slightly disappointing. I'm gonna give him a 7 because I felt, again, travelling on the ball, getting us out of defence, I felt he'd done that really well. Just that maybe naivety, maybe poor coaching, I don't know, but that one way or the other, that's got to have come up in the talk before the game, that this is what he does, and certainly at half time, because he was doing it every single time. So we'll move on to left back, Murray Wallace, and like I said, we're struggling because Murray Wallace has no pace. The amount of pace in this championship for the wingers, it sounds funny, but I think Jed would love to be running at Murray Wallace. I think Connie Mahoney would love to be running at Murray Wallace, because he's struggling because he's got no pace, and then we've got no pace in the centre-back pairing to come and cover round. So it's difficult for him to be able to, I want him to use his strength, but as soon as he picks up a booking, that's it. You can't, I've said it too often. We're allowing players are ghosting past Murray Wallace and doing what they want, and we're conceding too many goals from it. So something has to be done. I don't think Ferguson's the answer at left back either, because he also struggles from pace. I know, listen, we've got a lad, Junior Tienza, who's in our development squad, and I don't know whether he's ready. But he's got pace to burn, and at the moment, I'd seriously think about giving the lad a chance, because we're making the same errors, and it's down to a lack of pace and a lack of ability potentially to play the ball out from the back. And all of the 3 back 5, other than maybe Marlon, Cooper, Hutchinson and Murray Wallace, just are not taking the time to use the ball wisely. They get rid of it too quickly. They're playing it into space, but by the time they play it into space, they haven't taken the defender away to open up those lanes, to open up those options, and we just lose the ball so easy. Cardiff's press today was awful. You say you either press as the team or you sit. Well, they pressed with 1 or 2 players, which should have been very easy to get round, but because we're so uncomfortable on the ball, we allowed the press to beat us, and it was just, we had more possession today than them, and we very rarely ever have more possession. We just didn't make the most of that. We don't. Only the last maybe 30 minutes, and it sounds silly, but Williams showed for the ball in the first half, and he just wasn't giving it. It wasn't giving it to him. And now I know he plays back so often, but the boy's showing for the ball. Give him the ball. He's the one that can play with it. So if you can't, give it to him after trying to take that striker away without just passing it. Without that, just 1 or 2 steps, it's very frustrating. And yes, it is an end of an era. I don't think our football's going to change completely. I don't think that we're going to have wholesale changes, because it's obviously not possible. We've got the players that we've got, but fundamentally we need to keep possession of that football. Fundamentally, we have to be able to play out from the back better than we are, because if we don't, we're going to get beat against better teams, because Cardiff weren't a great side, and we're too often we're making average sides in the Championship look better than they actually are. Cardiff look better than us, and I'm sure Cardiff fans that will watch this will go, yeah, well, you look crap. Yeah, we did. And there's no getting around it. For long spells today, we look like a poor team, and I don't think we have poor players in the side. Both centre backs, I can only give a 6, because I thought Ward, to be fair, Ward up front, I felt had an excellent game. I felt we held the line up well and had a really good performance and put our defenders under pressure. And Murray Wallace is a 5. We'll move on to midfield. Like I said, we had 2 in the middle with Williams and Ben Thompson. both of them I felt I'd done all right. And it does frustrate me because Williams in the second half gets the ball, I think maybe when we went 2-1 down, but he was pinging the ball forward, he was creating space, you know, he's got time on the ball and done things really well. And that's, I don't know, he seems to have a burst of energy, and he showed what a quality player is. And it's frustrating that the first half, when he did get the ball, because he didn't get it enough, like I said already, he was passing back, he was passing, you know, too safe, I think is the word. Cardiff were there to get in behind, and we allowed them to defend too easily, and then we seemed out of position. Second half, I thought Williams was excellent, certainly when we went down 2-1, and he showed how good he is. So I'll give him a 7. Ben Thompson, I think it had a little bit of the opposite. I think first half, I think Ben was amazing. You know, probably one of our only highlights of the first half, breaking up play, winning the ball, not being afraid to run with it, you know, running at Cardiff, and that makes it difficult for them. It makes it very difficult for them to defend when you've got someone of Ben's ability to, you know, he's so quick in tight areas, he's able to create space and get out of it. Second half, I felt that, you know, he came off the ball a little bit. I don't think he was as impactful. Maybe he took it out of him the first half, because he did seem to be blowing, you know, 2 games in such short space of time, and we do expect a lot from Ben. But, you know, overall it's a decent enough performance, and Ben also gets a 7. The wingers, we had right midfield was Jed Wallace, the left midfield was Aidan O'Brien. I'll start with Aidan, and you can see Aidan tries, but I really struggle to find what positively he's bringing to the team, what positively he's giving to the game. First 5 minutes, he looked like, was this going to be the Aidan game? You know, was this going to be the one where he steps up? Because he funny enough, he done a lot of, he came from the left over to the right, won the ball, dribbled down the side, put the ball in for Smith, who I shanked it back out to him, funny enough, and then he ran in and missed the chance. But he didn't really do anything with the ball, Aidan, and that's, he's got to be able to, he's got talent, he has got the ability once the ball's at his feet, but he really isn't showing it. And I struggle to see how he's getting in the side. And like I said, I really can't see, other than working hard, which, you know, I appreciate any Millwall player doing that. Other than working hard, like I said, I struggle to see what he's bringing to the side. I'll give him a 6. We move to Jed Wallace, who's the right midfielder. That was a Jed performance, you know, so much energy, so much tenacity. Again, other than maybe Ben Thompson, and we'll move to the forward line, someone that's willing to run at the players, taking the ball from our area to theirs. And that's what you want your midfield to do. You want the midfield to be on the ball, to be taking players on. Now, you're going to take players on, they're going to tackle you sometimes, you're going to take players on and you're going to miss the cross, but if you don't try, it's never going to come off it. And Jed tries, you know, he always tries. They're not coming for me yet. Jed always tries, and that, you know, you really, and I felt like he did have quality today. I felt like he was someone that, I don't know, he just excites players around him and excites the fans when he gets on the ball. And I felt like it was an energetic performance from Jed, and he really carries the team sometimes when he's in that kind of mode. So Jed, I'll give an 8, and then we'll move to the front 2 in Tom Bradshaw and Matt Smith. Well, to be honest, today Matt Smith done very little. He had very little of an impact. He got bullied by 3 big centre-backs from Bristol City to try and get himself into the game. You know, he was kind of half and half with the defenders, and everything went against him. He'll probably feel like he didn't get the rub of the green, and I don't think he probably did get the rub of the green, but he didn't. You know, he's had a couple of headers where balls into the box that he hasn't hit the target with, and that's what you're in the team for. And otherwise, he didn't win nearly anything in the air up against those big centre-backs. Like I said, overall, I can give him no more than a 6, and I think that's been a bit generous. And you compare that completely to Tom Bradshaw. Now, when I celebrated the second goal, and I do celebrate wildly, I've got to be honest, I'm sometimes over passionate. People around me must get on their nerves a bit sometimes, but you know, I was just shouting at, that's a striker. That's a striker. You know, the second goal where he's played a 1-2 with Budvarsson, who had energy when he come on. He's played it. Budvarsson's tapped it round the corner. He's come back inside the defender, Bradshaw, and then absolutely levered the ball into the back of the net. And you think that's what you want your strikers to do. You know, that's where what we've been. There's no other way of putting it. We've been missing. You know, Lee Gregory was a great worker, but I think Bradshaw works equally as hard as Gregors, but he's got to finish. You know, and for me, it's obvious how much better Bradshaw is to Gregory, and we're saying that we all know that Gregory's going to score on Saturday without a shadow of a doubt. And I've got nothing bad to say. I've got nothing bad to say about Gregors, because I think he's someone that will go down in Millwall folklore as a very good Millwall striker, in that he worked so hard and scored important goals, but didn't score enough chances. That's not Bradshaw. Bradshaw scores chances. I think he got a bit of luck with the first goal. I'm not even sure if it was on target. Takes a deflection and goes in, but he's willing to do that. You know, he's willing to. I even liked it in the second half where there's a ball through to him, and he's probably taking it too early, but you want him to shoot. You want him to, you know, he's on fire at that stage. You want him to try and take the game to him, and I felt like he'd done that really, really well. And like I said, other than Bart, was by far our outfield man of the match, and what a difference he makes. You know, obviously Harris has brought him in, and he's not been able to get to see him. He's not been able to. He weren't able to get the best out of him, because most of the time he was injured, and that's disappointing. Who knows what would have happened otherwise? We don't know, do we? But I think Millwall with Bradshaw in the teams, and if we start to play football and start to give him more chances, because I think you look at in the last 3 or 4 games he scored, what's that, 4 or 5 goals. He's probably had 6 or 7 chances. Do you know, he hasn't had many chances. He's taken the chances that he has. If we give him more chances, it's only going to look rosy for us. We go to ref watch. Tim Robinson. He's a useless ref, Tim Robinson. I've said it before. He's too easy to predict what he's going to do. He allows teams to dictate by shouting out to him, and he'll blow because of that. He doesn't ever speed up at teams when they're time wasting. He's just a nothing ref that frustrates me, because he doesn't seem to do anything. Like I said, now we move on to Stoke on Saturday, a big game for Gary Rowett and a big game for Millwall, because that's what 3 games. Well, other than the Leeds one, you know, we've had Luton and then Brentford and now Cardiff. The good thing is we're not really losing games other than the Brentford one, which we'll have to put down to hopefully the last time Mill will do that for a long time, in throwing away a lead like that. But that's what I liked about what Cardiff did today. They didn't just sit back; they were pushing forward in the 94th minute, and that's what hopefully our Mill team do. You know, Conor Mahoney came on, didn't really have much of a chance. Budvarsson didn't really get into the game too much, other than the nice little pass. But I'm happy for a point. Zach, who's your man of the match?
I think it would be. It's very hard, but I think it's Bradshaw, because if you're a striker, you have to finish something like that, and that's exactly what he done. Because he shows passion, and when you show passion, you always score a goal, because it shows that you want the goal, and you always achieve that.
Does it remind you of a certain performance on Sunday by a certain Zach Thomas?
Yeah, it does.
A live wire striking performance where he gets in behind the defence, takes his chance and buries it in the back of the net. You know, so what are you trying to say? Tom Bradshaw's a chip off the old block. He's the new Zach Thomas.
Yeah.
You won't be seeing Zach for a little while. He's having an operation tomorrow, so he's going to miss a couple of weeks of football. I'm sure he'll be back after that. There's no doubt in that. You won't keep him away from the den for long. But I appreciate you watching. Thanks very much. I'll take the point, to be honest, because it weren't the best of performances. We need to have the ball a little bit more. And I think hopefully under Gary Rowett we're going to do that. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like the video, put your comments in. We'll take the point. Come on, you Lions.